Hello everybody and welcome to the GBA D-League Season 2 Game of the Week for week number 5. So we're really moving along here. This week I have got a match between the Washington Blazikens and the Miami Dolfinneons. This is the last team that's left to be featured, that being the Miami Dolfinneons. And they've had a rough go of it. They have the worst record and the worst differential in the league. They have not won yet, so this is kind of a big game for them to try and get on that winning track. And if they win out, they could go 500, you know. Do I think that's likely? Probably not. But, you know, if they get a win this week, at least it'll be something positive that they can use moving forward. For the Blazikens, they've also had a bit of a rough go of it. A really rocky start to a team that had some expectations from some people. Myself, I felt like the team would be decent. I didn't think they would be off to this slow of a start, but in a league so small, it's really tough to like gauge starts and stuff because it's just there's so few people playing against each other, and sometimes it's really just matchup heavy. But overall, I think the Blazikens will soon start trending upward. I feel like they're finally starting to get some footing in this league and start getting things going. So let's go ahead and jump into the team preview and talk a bit about what we've got going on. So if you look at the Mamoswines, the Blazikens, they've brought Mamoswine, Skarmory, Lucario, Mega Venusaur, Cofagrigus, and Alakazam. And if you look at the the Dolfinneons, I was looking at Butterfree and I wanted to say Butterfree. They brought Butterfree, Latios, Mega Medicham, Sylveon, Rotomwash, and Nidoking. So, two very interesting squads both people brought. I really wouldn't change much for the Blazikens and what they brought. I feel like what they've brought can pretty much handle anything that the Dolfinneons could throw at them. They pretty much have an answer to every threat and a way to break down every wall. Really nice, solid core that I feel the Blazikens brought. On the other hand, the Dolfinneons, I feel like they've also brought a pretty solid group of Mons at face value. The one thing I would change is I would not bring Butterfree. I understand it's the mascot and all that, and I'm sure Hardy likes Butterfree a lot, but I think I would swap that out with Dragonite. I understand having two dragons isn't the greatest, but with a fairy type and with ice resistances, I just really don't. I don't think Butterfree has any modicum of use in a league with this few teams. If this was a 16-team league, maybe I could see it, but in an 8-team league, I just do not think the pool was shallow enough to justify this pick, and I do not think that this Mon is good enough to be on this team. I feel like this should be Dragonite instead of Butterfree. I know I sound really dour and really serious when I say this, but it's not a Pokemon that's gonna help you win many games. I could be wrong. Maybe it helps him win this week, but I just don't see a lot of utility outside of, you know, Sleep Powder and Quiver Dance. There's not many redeeming factors other than that for Butterfree. So that's pretty much it for the team preview, though. Sorry I shit on you, Butterfree, but you're not very good, and I think you should be Dragonite, and I love Dragonite. So, yeah, but we're going to go ahead and get into the game right after this. Okay, so we're starting up the match now. This will be from the point of view of the Washington Blazikens. So Hardy will be on the other side. So we have Nidoking come out from the Dolfinneons, and we have Mamoswine come out from the Blazikens. Depending on spreads, could be a good matchup for either player. Nidoking has the moves to take out Mamoswine pretty quickly, and Mamoswine has moves to take out Nidoking pretty quickly as well. So we do just see Icicle Spear come out from the Mamo. We don't know what kind of Mamo this is yet. It's obviously not Life Orb, but could be anything else other than that. Maybe it's Focus Sash, or maybe it's I don't think it's Choice Banded. That didn't do that much damage. But it could be Choice Scarfed potentially. I don't know, but only got 2 hits on the Icicle Spear, and we do see Venusaur come in on the Rotom as most people would expect, and that is in fact a Life Orbed Rotom, which could be offensive based off that damage. So very interesting. You don't see Life Orb Rotom too much in Standard, obviously, but in the GBA, completely justifiable. Probably bringing it to deal heavy hits to Skarmory. I think maybe a defensive Rotom is still better in this scenario because it has more staying power. You can use it to respond to Mamoswine and Skarmory and some other threats like Lucario and still be around and kicking. So I don't know if offensive was the best choice, but we do see Sludge Bomb come out on the Latios switch, which I would say is fairly predictable there. And deal a hefty chunk of damage and get the poisons. That's very nice for the Blazikens. Getting that Latios weakened is very good, but we do in fact see Roost. So the Latios is back up to a reasonable amount of HP now, and likely is not packing Hidden Power Fire to deal with this Skarmory because we do in fact see it switch, or maybe he just wants to avoid taking some unnecessary damage because Hidden Power Fire will not take down Skarm in one shot because of sturdy anyway, but even with just the sheer damage it won't do enough. So we do see rocks come out as the Rotom comes in, and this Hydro Pump is going to be dealing significantly less after the Mega, and we in fact see a critical hit here. So a bit of a big deal. I think this next Hydro actually has a chance to take out Venusaur if he went for it. He maybe should have tried for it, but we probably will see Synthesis come out here, and we do in fact see it. So I really think it was worth it for Hardy to try and get that KO and just see, because I feel like Synthesis was the play anyway. He can't go Giga Drain because of Latios there. So I really think it was worth it for Hardy to try, but he didn't decide to go for it. He went to Latios instead and is going to get a Roost up after coming in. And we do in fact see Knockoff come out from this Mega Venusaur, and it actually just takes out Latios with a crit. So we see crit for crit, you know, quid pro quo, this for that. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. And unfortunately for Hardy, that is one of his best ways of dealing with Mega Venusaur now gone, and these rocks are now here to stay because I don't think he has a defogger other than that. So if he had brought Dragonite, this would stink, but at the same time it's even worse for Butterfree because it's quad weak to rocks. So rocks are not going to be appreciated from Hardy, but we do in fact see Calm Mind come out from Mega Medicham, which I mean, it is a GBA, so you could somewhat justify this, but personally, I don't agree with Calm Minding with Mega Medicham. It doesn't even take out Kofagrigus at +1, and it takes almost half after +1 as well. So I don't know if I agree with this necessarily, but it took down Kofagrigus, so and Will-O-Wisp obviously wouldn't matter because it's special. So I guess it kind of worked, but this Alakazam is obviously going to force the Mega Medicham to switch out here, likely into yeah, I was gonna say Sylveon, and Sylveon probably will take anything that Zam's gonna dish out really well. Psyshock is probably its best means of dealing damage outside of like Hidden Power Poison, which is possible, but I highly doubt it because there is Dragonite on Hardy's team, so I expect this Zam to probably have HP Ice. But we do in fact see that Psyshock deal a good amount of damage, and we'll probably just see Wish or Hyper Voice, but we do in fact see Wish. Unless the Sylveon carries HP Fire, Skarmory is a nice check to it. Probably going to force the Sylveon to protect or switch. And we do see Toxic come out from Skarmory, so maybe anticipating this type of stalemate in the game, bringing Toxic to deal with some of the speed bumps that Hardy has. And Hyper Voice does a decent amount of damage, but now that Toxic is in fact on this Sylveon, it's really going to force Hardy to be more, he's got to be more frugal with how he throws this Sylveon around. He really needs it. It's the linchpin of his team right now, and we do in fact see Heal Bell, so Hardy may be anticipating some sort of status to try and deal with this Sylveon because Nick's team doesn't have the best ways to do it. Lucario can take it down once it gets in, but you can't exactly switch Lucario in willy-nilly against something with Stab, Pixelate, Hyper Voice like that. It's really scary. So we do see Butterfree come in though, take the rocks damage. Not appreciated, as you can tell, and he's just gonna go for broke now, get these Quiver Dances set up. Don't know if that's exactly the best thing to do, although if this Butterfree had Sleep Powder, he definitely should have gone for it there. Compound Eye Sleep Powder pretty much never misses. You have to be pretty unlucky for it to miss, so I think he probably should have gone for that if he had it. I mean, a spread of like Quiver Dance, Sleep Powder, HP Fire, and then a choice of Stab could have been really good. But instead we don't see that. Instead we'll just see Focus Blast come out from Mega Medicham and actually deal a decent amount of damage. Like, considering Skarmory is a physical wall, it's not that impressive, but we do see Toxic miss, unfortunately, for the Blazikens, though, and Psychic will be enough to clean it up. So nice job by Hardy recognizing that he did not have to go for the risky Focus Blast and potentially miss. And if the Blazikens had gotten Toxic off, that would have been a big deal. This Medicham would be getting worn down really quick, but with Wish and Heal Bell, maybe that's somewhat mitigated, and maybe the Blazikens should have not gone for that Toxic because of that. Maybe it just doesn't seem quite worth it. I don't know, it's justifiable either way, but we'll see Psyshock come out now and just deal a ton of damage to this Sylveon. A couple rounds of Psyshock has really done well. And we do see Wish come out though, so likely going to be followed up by a Protect. That seems like the most likely possibility, and we do in fact see Protect come out. So Sylveon's going to be getting up to a really nice range of HP again, and I don't know what Hardy plans on doing here though, because in this scenario I think Zam probably wins out anyway if he's just going to keep going for Wishes and Protects. So eventually he'll run out. But we do see the Venusaur come in, probably anticipating a Hyper Voice or a Wish. Either one is a really nice switch for Venusaur. And Hardy decides to go Hyper Voice, likely just trying to get damage on that Zam, maybe thinking it's Focus Sash. That could be the most likely scenario that he would do that. But we do in fact see Butterfree come out, and I don't know why. I guess he's just sacking it off for fodder so he can get a free switch to one of his different Pokemon, which is a decent play. But as you saw, Butterfree basically did nothing this game, and that's what my problem with the Pokemon is. It just does not have the firepower to compete with some of the upper echelon threats you're going to be seeing in the GBA. So we see Medicham come in though. Obviously Venusaur cannot stay in that scenario. And I'm really interested to see if maybe this Medicham is packing something to deal. Well, no, never mind. We saw all 4 moves. So I was going to say like Bullet Punch or Fake Out, but we already saw Shadow Ball. So never mind. But Zam does force that switch. Gets Sylveon to come in on Rocks and take Psyshock, which looks like it's going to be a nice clean 2-hit KO. Probably going to come down to a double Protect if Hardy wants to go for it. It maybe could be a roll after 1 round of leftovers here. It'll be interesting to see, but I fully expect to either see Hardy go for Hyper Voice or Wish here, anticipating a low roll, but instead he goes for the double Protect. I don't recommend going for double Protects in those scenarios. You're turning something into a 50-50 when it really doesn't need to be, and as you see, Sylveon actually survives here. So if he had gone for Wish, he would be in a much better scenario, but now this Sylveon is gone because Psyshock gets the 3-hit KO on Sylveon. So that's likely going to force him into, I was going to say Nidoking. And Nidoking looks to be Scarfed if it's coming in like this. If I really don't think Hardy has much to deal with Alakazam anyway, so if that wasn't Scarfed, I think he just got swept there. So we do in fact see that that is a Scarfed Nidoking. And now it'll be interesting to see if this is in fact Scarf Mamo. We won't know this turn because he does switch out into Rotom, which maybe would have been the better play to go to instead of Nidoking on the Zam. But I guess since Nidoking was Scarf, that was pretty, it was an alright play, but it really telegraphs the Scarf when you switch Nidoking right in like that. So I maybe would have tried to save the Scarf, but now we see Rotom go down, and that was really his best answer for this Mamoswine if it is in fact Scarf or Sash. We don't see it go before Medicham, so it is in fact Focus Sash. So obviously Focus Blast is going to take it down to that Sash and deal a shitload of damage, and then we'll just see the Mamoswine go for Icicle Spear. I don't know if that's the best option to go for. I think if you have EQ, obviously going for that is safer, and or Ice Shard potentially, and trying to get a high roll or a nice crit, or even going for knockoff to not have to worry about the miss. I'm pretty sure Icicle Spear does not have perfect accuracy. So we do see Ice Shard come out now. and it does a ton of damage to this Nidoking, and Mamoswine's going to go down as well. And I think that just means that Lucario can come in and clean up with an extreme speed and clinch this game up for the Blazikens. A nice 2-0 win. So really impressive performance put on by the Blazikens. They seemed to be in the driver's seat the entire game and really shut down any type of offensive momentum the Dolfinneons tried to get. We did see a bit of a scary sequence with that Calm Mind Mega Medicham. I'm sure that threw the Blazikens off. But overall, I'm really impressed with how the Blazikens responded to the novelty of Calm Mind Mega Medicham, and overall impressed with their performance. So now it'll be time to get into the Pokemon of the game. Okay, so for this week, the Pokemon of the game is going to be Alakazam. Alakazam is 1-1 in this game with a +0 differential, obviously, and then on the season it's 4-3 for a +1 kill death ratio. So overall, I was really impressed with like the total team effort that the Blazikens put forth, but I feel like Alakazam was really the one Pokemon that was really seeing a lot of offensive momentum come under its force. Like there were a lot of periods of time where Alakazam would come in and force the Dolfinneons to just be on the back foot. Essentially, it might not have netted a lot of high like stylish points, but it really forced the Dolfinneons onto their back feet and onto the defensive. So I really was impressed with Alakazam and how much work it put in. I've been known in the past to be a bit critical of Alakazam in this format, and the fact that I'm seeing it do work is really pleasing, as it's one of my favorite mods, and I was really impressed with Alakazam's performance overall. Not the flashiest, but kind of a grindy performance, and I'm really pleased with what I saw from it. So that's it for this week. I want to thank you all for watching. Next week we're going to start getting into the best matches of the week, although this match was pretty good. We'll start seeing some of the best matches of the week each and every edition of Game of the Week. So I want to thank you all for watching. Take it easy and peace out.